Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's just Jame, and I'm just here trying to change your perspective. Last week was Thanksgiving, and I hope that you had a wonderful day. We were in West Virginia, and it actually snowed on Thanksgiving, and I was just tickled to death over that. So because it was Thanksgiving, I really had on my heart, I was just really thinking about my family and how much I love them and miss them, and there were several people that were not able to be with us for Thanksgiving, and that was just heavy on my heart. And so that's kind of what inspired this video. And I don't know, I just wanted to talk about family. So I was thinking about what it means to be a family member, like just in general. Like if you're a member of something, you have a role, you have a job in that family, right? Or in that community or that group. And I was trying to think about what my role was in my family. And now more than previously, I'm like the family nurse, at least for my parents. If they have problems, they call me and things like that. But more than that, I mean, obviously I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a granddaughter, and even beyond that, I've always felt like my role has been to keep people together. For as long as I've been alive, it seems like people have sort of been leaving, if you will, in different capacities. My oldest sister, got married when I think I had just turned 5, maybe. I barely remember living with her, and so that's just one example. We've had just a lot of different. My middle sister, when I graduated from 5th grade, she graduated from high school, and then we moved, and so she didn't move with us, and so that kind of really stretched that relationship. And things just happen over time. Life happens. People grow up and they get married and they have their own families and they have their own jobs, and priorities change, and it's hard to hold a family together. With friends, it's a little different because you have things in common, but with family, it's different because a lot of family members, you don't really have that much in common with them other than you're just family. And to me, I kind of think that's like the beauty of it. And so I've really always it bothers me when people are not connected or together. And so I've always felt like I was supposed to be holding people together, bringing people together. I don't feel like I've done a very good job of it over the years. Like, I don't feel like I'm like just killing it at that by any means. And this last 2 years has really, really been hard for me because it's like worse now than it ever has been, right? And so it's just weighed on me because I don't know what to do about it. Like, I don't know what to do about it. I have said what I feel like I need to say, and there are people that disagree with me, and that's okay, but I don't know that they know that it's okay. I definitely, talking about family roles, I definitely feel like I have in the past, and I guess that just like in my nature, to be the person who says something that maybe other people don't want to hear, or says the thing that might make people uncomfortable, or whatever the case may be. And I've always been that way because, like I said, I've always been trying to hold people together. So I think for me, it's always been like, if I can just get this over with, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and we'll move past this. That's the way I've always looked at it, and I don't think it comes off that way to other people. I know that a lot of people think that I'm just controversial and I just say things that nobody wants to hear and whatever. And the truth is it may come off that way sometimes, but in reality, I just am trying to hold people together and just try to like keep powering on. And so, but I realize how that comes across to people, and so I've really tried to work on that because it's definitely obviously, your worst characteristics are the worst with your family before they are with anybody else. And so I've really tried to rein that in, but in doing that, I don't know what to say. If I'm not I've said my piece, I've said what I needed to say, and there are things that I don't agree with and decisions that have been made that I don't agree with. But it doesn't take away my love and my respect for people. But it does. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know that I'm. It's hard to tell, like, if you're welcome to be with somebody, if they're welcoming your love and affection, or if they're uncomfortable being in the same room with you. Like, that's hard to hear when your loved one is afraid of you and feels like they have something to fear. And I don't know how to move past that, right? Like, it just, I feel uncomfortable, and so I feel like I can't, I'm not going to continue to voice my opinion. Everybody, you can be friends with me on Facebook and you will know my opinion. You can watch my videos and you know my opinion. I don't generally bring things up unless they're brought up to me. And because I am more controversial, people do tend to bring things up. I've been at more than one event. I've been at a birthday party and at a wedding and had people tell me that they disagreed with me on abortion. Just as an example, okay? So, and that was years ago, but people like to talk, people like to share their opinions, and I love it. I'm all for it. Like, I would rather have intellectual debate with somebody who disagrees with me than almost anything else. It like fuels my fire, and I realize that comes off aggressively to some people, and I hate that, because that's not, for me, it's not a big deal. Like, I can have a full-fledged debate with somebody, disagree with them on everything, and then like go eat a meal with them and it not be a big deal. But I realize that for other people it's not always like that, and I'm aware that is an issue, I guess, for some people. And I don't know how to help that. Like, I feel like I don't bring things up. If like I said, if somebody comes to me about something, I'm not going to be rude and be like, I can't talk to you about that right now. It's going to hurt somebody's feelings. Like, no, I'm going to have a conversation with you because you wanted to have a conversation. Clearly you came to me. But a lot of people, because I am so vocal about it and express my opinion, a lot of people think that I'm the one that starts this kind of stuff, and that 9 out of 10 times is honestly not the case. But my point being, I don't know how to move forward with this. Like, I'm definitely an in-person kind of person. I don't do well with phone calls. I don't do well with like Zoom and stuff like that. Like, I want to like see you and touch you and hold you, and just it just, the message isn't getting received otherwise. It's so much of an added barrier when you have all this technology between you. It's not the same. And for me, I'm just not the kind of person who can just sit and be on the phone all the time. I very, very rarely am on the phone. I call my mom, and that's really about it, honestly. Like, I just don't, and it's hard to like make that connection in other ways. It's hard to when you know that you are knowledgeable and you are confident in your understanding of things, and based on the news network that somebody watched, that dictates whether or not you're deemed trustworthy or a lunatic, right? More than that, I take a lot of pride in my job, and I've always considered the people around me to be my patients. Like, if you've asked me for medical advice, you're my patient. I'm not going to just take that lightly. If you ask me medical advice privately, I'm doing research on your behalf. I'm looking into stuff for you before I give you an answer a lot of times, because especially if it's something I don't know about, obviously. And I don't take this stuff lightly. I take a lot of pride in being a nurse, and it's disheartening whenever people who used to take your advice and people who used to respect your opinion don't anymore. And like I said, just based solely on what they're hearing on the news, depending on what news network they're listening to. And you hear these comments about, well, you're not a doctor, you're not an immunologist, you're not a virologist, you're not a scientist, you're not this or that. Do you know how many people don't even have college degrees, and we listen to them and let them dictate our lives all the time? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, we let him tell us what to think all the time. He allows all sorts of censoring to go on Facebook. He doesn't even have a college degree. Bill Gates doesn't have a college degree. He never finished college, and we treat him like a scientist. He is not a scientist. There's so many people who don't even have college degrees that we listen to and have all this respect for, and yet because someone has a different opinion, because of what the news says, because you're afraid, you're letting other people tell you what to think and how to act and who to trust. Where do we go from here? What do we do with this? You know, do we just completely separate down the middle? Like, it's hard for me to know what to say, and especially when I know how, and I've heard some of the things that have been said about me to my face and behind my back. It's just hard to know, am I pushing too hard, or should I have pushed harder? You know, is there more that I could do, or am I doing too much as it is? You know, should I pull back or keep going? And when you're fighting for people that you love, it's just messy, you know. And when you feel like you have the plague, or like you're dirty or contaminated, that's heavy stuff, you know. When you feel like the people you love don't want your affection and don't want to be around you, that's hard. And the thing is, to me, is like, it goes both ways, right? Like, there are plenty of scientists and doctors and immunologists, different pathologists, who have come out and said that there is potential risk being around the jabbed group. The fact that there's evidence to show that the jabbed group are higher carriers. So if anything, I should be afraid to be around them, right? And I'm not. It doesn't seem to matter that I'm incredibly healthy, that I don't get sick, that despite missing 2 organs, I'm still one of the healthiest people that I know. You know, that doesn't give me any credibility. Being a nurse doesn't give me any credibility, apparently. It's just fascinating to watch the segregation. You can't determine somebody's intelligence and their ability to comprehend based solely on their education level, first of all. Because I've noticed that's a big thing lately, is like, there are certain people who think that you have to be at a certain level of intelligence based on a degree, that in order to be listened to, right? Like, you have to be some sort of a scientist or a doctor, or else your opinion is null and void. And like I said, I mean, we listen to Bill Gates. He has nothing to do with science other than he just buys a lot of it and he invests in a lot of it. And he has said that his contributions in the field of immunology have been his best return of investment, meaning he's made the most money off of it. So he has a vested interest in what's going on here. And I don't know, I just, it never occurred to me before how elitist it seemed. I don't know. I guess this was on my heart. If you were watching this video for like a solution, I'm sorry, I don't have a solution for you. Like, this is my solution, is to make YouTube videos and talk about what I think and what I feel, in hopes of making some sort of bridge between me and them, right? Like, I'm just trying to explain myself, because I feel like the world says that I'm an idiot. The world says that I'm dumb, I'm ignorant, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Other people like me don't know what we're talking about. And So I make these videos. That's my solution. So I'm just curious of what you guys have encountered, and if you guys have any advice, or I've been trying to just, love them anyway. That's, what else can you do but love people, right? And sometimes it just feels like that's not enough, and sometimes it feels like I don't know how to love in this new reality that I'm living in. My love is giving hugs and kisses and spending time together, and when you don't feel welcome, and when you feel dirty and contaminated and othered, it's hard to know where to go from here. And so that's just sort of where I'm at. I don't know what else to do, but my heart hurts, and I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing until I can figure something else out. So that's it for me this week. I know this was kind of a different video, but it's been on my heart, and I know it's on a lot of other people's hearts. I mean, this is the second holiday season we're going into where, families are missing. I can't tell you how many people I've heard say, they won't let me see my grandchild. They won't let me see my niece. They won't let me see my nephew. They won't let me come to their wedding if I don't get it. And I just can't imagine. I can't imagine living in that kind of fear, that I would just not see people that I love, and to me that's not a life worth living. But obviously we all have different standards and perspectives and priorities, and so I'm just gonna keep loving them like Jesus told me to, and hope I'm doing a good enough job. Y'all just continue to pray for me this holiday season, because it really is weighing on my heart. And people tell me all the time, don't let it bother you. If people want to be in your life, they'll be in your life. And I just don't always see it like that. I realize that people are in different seasons, and people make mistakes, people have regrets, and it's hard to walk those back sometimes. And I don't ever want to be somebody who just throws stuff in people's faces, because I know I've been there. I know how that feels. And so I'm trying to just be loving and respectful and kind, but it's hard. It hurts my spirit. And to be honest with you, the main reason I started this YouTube channel was for the people who disagreed with me, that in hopes that they would watch it, people in my family especially, because it's always the people that are closest to you who saw you when you were sticking your finger in the light socket, and who saw you when you were young and dumb, who have the least respect and acknowledgement for how far you've come. Comment below and let me know if you guys have had any similar situations, or any solutions or ideas or anything like that. Like this video and consider subscribing. You know how to do all those things to show your love. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and showing your support. It means everything. I will talk to you next week.